All right, 5:48 in the morning. You ready? Well, let's go then. All right, so the adventure we got going on this morning is I found a little blazer that I'm going to look at. Hopefully it'll be what it's supposed to be and I'll end up getting it. But what we're currently doing is we got to drive to Santa Fe. So taking the 68 just because, well, one, I wanted to, and two, the only other option is the Silverado. And I mean, if I'm gonna go get my car, I might as well put miles on my truck doing it. So we got that going, and it's gonna be hopefully just a 4-hour drive. It's gonna be about 500 to 600 mile round trip. So I think I got everything. I got everything I can remember at least. So we'll see how far that gets us. But anyways, so that's the deal as of now. Getting ready to pick up Nathan and then head out of town. So another thing that's kind of cool about this trip is I don't know if this truck has ever even left the state. I mean, it's entirely possible. It's spent its whole life here, so this will certainly be the first time it's left the state since the 80s, which is kind of cool. Averaged 11.16, which is pretty dang good. Something's happening over here, not sure what. We're gonna get out.
other side of that, there's Albuquerque.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is like number 2 or something in the entire world, or entire U.S. for gang violence.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, Breaking Bad was a documentary, right?
It was, yeah. Anyway, Albuquerque and Santa Fe are very different cities.
Watch, this dude cut in front of me, but then he's not going to let someone else in. I'll let one person in.
That's how you have to do it. It's zipper. One person. Oh, he is.
Oh, what? Okay, I forgive you, sir.
You are now neutral. We're letting you over. Not you. Zipper.
You zipper.
You're wrong, dude. Stop.
I got a trailer. I will use it.
Oh, they're narrowing it for construction. That's the deal.
Which lane's ending?
I cannot tell yet.
Probably the one we're in.
I don't know.
Well, you know, there's road work though.
Yes.
I think we're in the lane that ends.
We're in the lane that ends.
What are the odds one of these people lets me over?
I don't know. Put your blinker on. Maybe.
Will this guy let me over?
Maybe he will.
Oh, and this dude behind me is good at that?
Oh, what a champ. Yeah, it's this lane that's ending, dude.
The one we're in now?
Yeah. No. Oh, this lane. It's the right lane that's ending.
And then you got all these clowns.
And you're like, we're gonna make up time.
Excuse me? I beg your pardon?
I think his air brakes just farted.
Why was that dude stopped in the... Maybe there was a wreck.
Maybe,
and then he just thought, oh, well, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to
Instead of just pulling over 2 feet to let everyone by.
Sir? Sir? Sir?
What? No, dude, don't. Dude, what are you doing?
Sir?
Well, no, stop! Stop. That's illegal.
Oh, he just got back out?
No, he literally did it just to pass them.
What did... Oh, I messed up. I had video.
Look how many there are. They're everywhere.
Update. It's still going.
Look at them rolling by.
This is how we roll.
Nice. I feel like we've heard this song already.
Probably. Might have been on the radio or something.
What?
Might have been on the radio or something.
Oh, no. That's a load secureness checker. They inbuilt them just to make sure everything's good.
That's like those speed bumps.
Yeah.
Stopped here again at the Pilot. Got the Blazer in tow. And I don't know how this is possible because we've been pulling a whole lot of grades and hills coming out of Santa Fe and Santa Rosa. And double check the math. This thing with the Blazer on the trailer, pulling hills in third gear at 3,000 RPM, or, well, that was really only 2 of them that were really bad. For the most part, we were doing probably third gear at 55, about 2,700 RPM, but even still, pulling hills, and this thing somehow got 12.5 mpg. I have no idea how that's possible. I mean, we are losing elevation. We did lose a lot of elevation at the end of this stint, but even still. So that is wildly impressive. And so far, truck seems to be doing good. Absolutely no complaints. Transmission leak, that's the usual deal. It's not too bad. Blazer's still staying strapped down good. Backwood's about the same. So yeah. So far, things have been going really good. Alright, final mileage, and made it back with a 1/8 of a tank, which is a little close, but the way it goes. Alright, well, it's the next morning, so I was so proud of this thing, honestly, and just all the work that's gone into it. Because when we pulled back into the driveway last night, after probably including gas station stops and everything, being on the road about 9 hours, and I haven't figured out the miles yet. I'm guessing it's approaching 600 miles. I mean, after all of that, pulling back into the drive, it really showed the value of all the work that's been put into this thing, and I was just super, super proud. I mean, genuinely proud. Just because this thing didn't really have any problems. The only problem we had was before we left town. I had all 4 headlights on, so that'd be the high beams and the low beams, and for whatever reason, the headlights started flickering. Not the running lights, but the headlights. And I turned off the high beams and the problem went away. So something with the high beam switch or something is acting weird. But other than that, turned those off, didn't have a problem with it again, just used the low beams, which were fine. And didn't have a problem the whole rest of the trip. I mean, the truck drove absolutely fantastic, no complaints. The trailer worked really good. I'm not even sure if that trailer's left the state since my family's owned it. But this truck most certainly has not left the state since at least when it was parked in the 80s. But yeah, everything did good. It didn't really struggle a whole lot. I mean, for the most part, we could kind of keep up with traffic. Coming out of Santa Rosa and Santa Fe with all the hills and the long grades and stuff. I mean, we were struggling a bit there, but I mean, what do you expect? I mean, it's not a diesel making 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. But even on those hills, just slow down to 55 or 60 and pull it down into third, let it run about 2,800 RPM, and it didn't have any trouble doing that. Engine temp stayed good all day. Trans temp stayed good all day. I finally think I have fixed the whole trans cooler situation. So 4 years in the making. I think I will at some point be putting that video together, just because I learned a bit about how trans cooler systems work and how transmissions dissipate heat, and I would have certainly killed this transmission had I not been paying attention to things and fixed stuff. And it was the problem was a really simple problem, and I think it's why a lot of people have so much trouble with transmissions in vehicles like, retro modded into vehicles like this. So I'll work on that at some point. Cause yeah, the transmission, I mean, it'd come out of lockup and overdrive. It'd get up to about 200 degrees and stop there. And then if we were in third gear or the torque converter was locked up in overdrive, it was 160 the whole time. I mean, it was awesome. The oil cooler was doing its thing, getting heat out of the oil and helping that situation. Power steering cooler was dissipating heat, which is good given how much more, especially on these long hills, turning all that RPM. The power steering pump's also turning a lot more RPM. So that power steering cooler gives that hydraulic system someplace to dissipate heat too. So everything just worked fantastic. I mean, it pulled good. Once we got out of the hills, I mean, for the most part, we were pulling anywhere from 65 to 80 so long as we were on flat ground or going slightly downhill and there wasn't a headwind. But it did really, really, really good. I mean, I'm genuinely proud. Just because it's one thing to drive this thing, you know, within 50 miles of home, you know, because I've put, prior to this trip this year, prior to this trip, the last few months, I've probably put about 2,000 miles on this thing. And I mean, hey, that's cool and all. I mean, that's definitely an achievement, but it's a whole nother deal whenever you're, you know, several hundred miles from home. You know, the scope of dealing with problems that far away is significantly increased. But yeah, I mean, it just absolutely fantastic. Mileage was shockingly good. I haven't gone to put gas in it yet to see what we got. About 12.5 on the last fill up, and at some point I got to go put gas in it, figure up the mileage again, and see what we got. Because 12.5 pulling a Blazer on a trailer on hills just seems insane. But I mean, the numbers are the numbers. But yeah, everything went good. Truck worked great. I'm glad that, I mean, all the work that was put into it was put into it. I mean, I really realize the value of the effort that, you know, I've put into it and friends and family have put into it. Again, just as soon as we pulled back into that driveway, having not had any major issues. But yeah, absolutely love the truck. People, yeah, had people waving at us on the highway, people talking to us at gas stations. I mean, it was awesome. You know, and I had one time I used this thing to go haul brush off, and a guy asked me, you know, man, why are you even using that to move a trailer? And hey, I get where he was coming from. You know, it's like, hey, it's a nice classic car, truck. I mean, you don't need to go beating up on it, right? So I get that, but I mean, it's a truck. I mean, you see the bumper this thing has on it. I mean, this thing was doing what it was designed to do. And I think it's a lot happier for it. But, and it took it from, oh, this is just a trip where we have to go drive to Santa Fe. It took it from that to, hey, this is an adventure. You know, I mean, anything can happen on this deal. And plus, I mean, hey, gave people something to look at, right? You know, they're all going along on the highway too, bored out of their mind, and then, whoa, what the heck is that? You know, that kind of a deal. So, spread a little interest around. People like looking at it generally. I like driving it. Seems like a win-win, right? But yes, I didn't have a problem with the truck. Everything just went absolutely fantastic. I mean, it hasn't even leaked. I haven't checked to see if there's oil in anything, you know, oil in the transmission and everything, but it has not leaked. So, real pleased with that. Oh, the gear ratio was absolutely fantastic. That's a deal that I'll talk about in the transmission video too. Absolutely fantastic. Would not want any other gear ratio in there. But yeah, anyways, I think I've rambled long enough on this. Anyways, super proud. Trip went fantastic. Got the Blazer. Probably do a few things on it. But yeah, absolutely loved it.